Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ross Patterson Revolution! Brought to you by GhostBed.com.
Look at her. Look at her. Go to a single of her, Giorgio. My God, man. Look at you, Jabes.
What?
You're hot. Like it's crazy how hot you are. I can't believe it every single day.
Thank you.
Before we went on air this morning, I'm always honest with people, so we'll be honest now.
Sure.
We have to put I have to wear a little makeup, right? Because of the bright lights, big city that we're in. Sure. Showbiz, baby. Hey. It's what we do, baby. Showbiz. It is only to match your skin and just look remotely like I could be married to you.
Sure.
Because in real life, without makeup on, I look like a garbage person who has never seen sunshine in his entire life. So much so, in fact, that I get a text from my doctor last night thinking that something's wrong with me. And she's just like, hey, just a quick reminder before I see you this week. Here's the exact links on Amazon for your zinc and vitamin D because I feel like you need to be taking this. She watches the show.
Oh.
Yeah. Is a fan of the show. And she says, I feel like you guys have talked about this numerous times where your wife has to text you and just leave you messages and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. She's like, I have to do the same with my husband. Therefore, here's the exact links for you to order dum-dum so you won't forget.
Sure.
Sure. And that's polite.
Yeah.
But on the other part about it, I'm like, all right, she watches the show and everything. Like, I really do look that terrible. We need I need a full glam squad. I need Jennifer Lopez's glam squad in here just to live up to you. Otherwise, this is going to look like some dog shit couple that it's like, oh, why is that girl with him? I don't understand.
Well, you could just hold up your bank account.
Yeah.
Next to your face. I'm just joking, obviously. Build an empire together. You know what I mean? But I'm joking.
No, I'm not. And look, I go through these phases where, again, I know I've said this in the past, and I'm going to say it again. To write these books is such an impossible task. Again, I've got the paperback. They give you this thing where it's like not for resale. You get to check it and everything else. The ebook is done. The hardback is not done. I will throw this computer out the window. I will be all done with this. I will get one of your new fancy computers and live in this century. Steve Jobs, you win, Steve Jobs. Tim Cook, you're going to win. And I will get back into this. I will find the sunshine again at some point, and I will try to become a better human. But in the meantime, I'm a basement dweller who does not deserve to be with a woman like you, and I fully embrace that, and I hear all of your comments. And Richard Denoff says, I'm looking swole. Now, that's true.
Sure.
Yes, I have been able to work out here and there, maybe twice a week tops, but yes, I'm trying to do one thing right. Now, the rest of it is not. Man, I think Giorgio said your hue is different when we were getting ready this morning.
It's a pallor, right? It's a blue pallor. No.
See, stuff is making sense though. Ross is, he's getting swole. There's a lot of blood flowing to the skin. He's really red these days.
That's maybe
you
it.
on some new stuff?
No. So
maybe that's it.
I'm still on the TRT, right? Which is fine, and maybe it gives you like a pinkish hue or whatever, right? But I want the good stuff. I want the stuff that The Rock is on. We've talked about this. Yeah. So the trend thing, I asked my trainer about, and I was like, I got you. You got some trend?
Shit.
Yeah, I got to connect.
I heard Dirty Dan used to be a bodybuilder, right?
I used to work at Lifetime Fitness, yeah.
That's a lot different than I used to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah, same thing.
But look, when you work out for a living, whatever that may be, you're going to be in fucking great shape.
Yeah.
That's just,
yeah.
Those are the people that have time to work out.
Right. So With the Tren, I asked my trainer was like, "Oh shit, you should probably get on some Tren." And then until I found out what that was, I think we talked about it on Drinkin Bros a couple of weeks ago. When you take an injection of it's for like livestock or something, and you lose your breath and start violently coughing for 5 minutes straight, right?
Oh, that's like kind of the entrance phase.
Yeah, you guys.
Well, I still gotta
No pain, no gain.
Yeah,
Ross.
exactly.
You know this.
Exactly. Look, I understand.
Wild mood swings.
Yeah.
Dan,
Great.
don't give it to him.
Some people have been known to
Great.
crush cans in their hands without noting.
I'm down for that.
Very Lenny.
The Rock posted a picture yesterday on Instagram from behind of himself. People were like, "Jesus, it's not a rock, that's a boulder." No human being should ever be as large as The Rock currently is right now. I don't know what he's doing unless it's a movie about the guy who's ingested the most steroids in this world. I'm not sure what it is, but you go check out that picture and you're like, "Oh, yeah, but you're going to tell me who to vote for?"
Right.
What? Just 'cause you
Relatable.
work out? Yeah.
He should put, is this relatable? Yeah. No.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. Today was one of those days where I had a little difficulty leaving the house. Not because of what was going on in the world. It's the coldest day in Austin history today,
Sure.
which is a fun fact. It only
Yep.
got to 41 degrees today. I enjoy that, though. It reminds me of Ohio State, so I'm fine.
Yeah. It's not biting. Like it wasn't, I don't know. It's not bad.
It's
yeah.
fine. It's fine.
not bad. I mean, this morning when I was taking the kid to school and it was 37, it was a little bit
a little
hard.
bit, yeah, a little bit harsh.
But now it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. So I don't mind this type of weather. And when I was leaving the house, just making sure all the heat and normal shit was on. So when the kids get home, it's they're not freezing or whatever, right?
Sure.
And you had you usually put like a morning show on the thing, and it had flipped over to The View with Whoopi Goldberg.
Okay. I don't know how that.
I don't know. I don't either.
Okay.
Something must have ended. We're still getting used to the time zone here because it's an hour behind. So those shows are an hour ahead, and like maybe that's what it is. And it came on at that point. And I was just about to leave, and they were talking about Amy Coney Barrett and packing the Supreme Court and whether or not that's a good idea. And 3 out of 4 on that panel were like, yes, we should. We should absolutely put 13 people in there and change the court because it's not fair. It's not fair, and it's going to affect the laws in this country. It's 6-3 now on the Supreme Court, and it's not fair. It is fair, and legally speaking, it has been going on for 155 years. I get you don't like the president. Tough shit. I get you don't like the Supreme Court judges. No one can help the fact that either some died or some retired when Trump was in office. It's just the way it works sometimes, right? If it was Hillary Clinton in there, she would have picked 3, same as anybody else. What the fuck are we doing here, right? And the Merrick Garland, we went to Merrick Garland. They didn't have the votes. You didn't have the votes for Merrick Garland. It could have been fucking Judge Wapner or Judy in there, or Joe. Is it Joe? Judge Joe?
Joe Brown?
Joe Brown. You could have had Brown in there. You're not getting it in. You didn't have the votes to get in a Supreme Court justice. That's just the way the law works. It's the way Congress works and the Senate and everything else. You didn't have the votes to get it in. Trump does. And remarkably, he was pretty fucking honest about it when he said, look, when they asked him on 60 Minutes the other night, they go, why did you do this? And he goes, truthfully, after the way they treated Kavanaugh during that whole trial and ruined that guy's life, all bets are off and I just don't give a shit. Legally, I can do it. And so therefore, I'm going to do it and put it in. Now, I know what you're saying. If Biden gets in, legally, they could probably try to vote this in. I guess you could, but then you're just going to add justices, and then whoever the Republican gets in there next is going to add more. And it's going to get to some stupid, ridiculous number where it's like, oh, great, we've got 37 justices. Do we have the numbers for our fucking thing? Oh, God. And this woman tried to explain on there, and this is what I got caught up in with her and Whoopi Goldberg. This woman tried to explain that the Republicans were unfairly packing the court. And it's not true. But this one woman who countered on this was like, hey, they're not packing the court. Like legally,
No.
everything that's going on is going on. And
But I said this a while ago when they were first kind of turning the phrase packing the court into something that it's not. That was, another, sorry. your stupidity against you, but that's not packing the court.
Right.
But they're using the fact that people don't understand what that is to sweat. You know what I mean?
Correct. And so the woman who countered her today was like, I don't think you know what packing of the court means.
Yeah.
And she goes, no, I do know what it means. And it means they're packing them full of people who are going to make decisions. And it's like, nope, they're just appointing people legally that the way the Constitution's written. And
I would just hate to play Monopoly with any of these people.
All of it.
Just, you can't have the rules and then just change them.
I don't want to go to jail.
As it gets towards the end.
I don't want to pay $200
those are the
and
rules
go to
already.
jail. Yeah, those are the rules. So, if you want to come in and change them and do all of that shit, like that's going to fuck up the country worse than anything else. Simply because you're setting a president of the next guy that gets in there, they're just going to keep upping the numbers over and over and over again. And it's like a World Series, man. I don't want to see more than 7 games.
Right.
That they've had it right.
You can't be like, oh, that was not fair. Let's make it.
My favorite team
9
didn't win.
games.
Yeah, the Yankees didn't win. Let's make it 9 games. Let's make it 11. Let's make it 13.
That's not really how it works.
And it doesn't. And one person tried to say that, no lie, and this was on The View, that they didn't abide by Ruth Bader Ginsburg's dying wish. She said on her dying wish.
Nobody said that.
She didn't.
Please
she
don't
wanted
tell
to wait.
me.
I know they did. She did. And then the other woman said, "Look, man." Ruth Bader Ginsburg is on record on NPR last year in an interview in June of 2019 saying, hey, do you think they should add more Supreme Court justices? And she said, no, 9 is the perfect number. It always has been. And it's that is the perfect number, regardless of what happens. And it's just like,
because it will flip eventually, right?
Yes,
like people
yes,
are
it will
going
flip
to die,
eventually.
and then other people.
Democrats
may be in
will win office.
and
Yes,
that's the way this whole motherfucking bullshit pile of whore poop works.
Whore poop. Mike Demo just said, when you have to change the rules to win your arguments, they just do not hold water. Your ideas are losers, and they are. And when he says losers, the ideas are losers for like the long run, right?
Yeah.
That is a losing strategy by doing that. Focus on winning the White House in your districts and all this other stuff, like because it will flip. The same thing, like I said yesterday with Texas, man. Texas will flip. Within 10 years, you will have Texas. And this is what I missed yesterday. And like, regardless of how crazy and fucked up these shows are, I feel bad if I have a bad show or I don't communicate something correctly. And I think about it all day. This is one thing that I meant to say yesterday with the state of Texas flipping to blue. The reason why this is such a huge thing for the Democratic and Republican parties, it is going to change politics for a very, very, very long time. And to Democrats out there, it will be in your favor. I promise you that. Because you have 38 delegates in this state. You already have California. Between those 2 states, you're looking at 78 delegates. You only need 270 to win the White House. Therefore, whatever Republican challenger gets in there after Texas turns blue is going to have to fight to win all of the other states, essentially to try to get that number of delegates. Like, it will be very hard in 10 years for Republican candidates to get those delegate counts in the Electoral College when Texas turns blue. It will be extremely difficult. You'd have to add New York. Like, Republicans are going to have to flip New York or something like that, and I don't think that's ever going to happen. You guys will have the presidency and the fucking other bullshit for a very long time. I promise you. It's just not now. And that's the way it is. And then sometime in the future, Republicans are going to have to fight for something else and then flip some states back or however that's going to work. So it does change, and it will always change. Republicans will not be in power forever. And it is going to happen here. You can feel it. Everybody is moving in here with their bullshit plans and ideas. And I was talking to Dan about the homelessness and all this other shit. Like, it's becoming a mini LA. The property values are skyrocketing and all that other stuff. And it's like, you feel it happening. You talk to our neighbors. People are walking around the neighborhoods asking to pick off houses in cash from LA just to get them out of their houses and into their favorite neighborhoods. Like, it's getting crazy. 10 more years, you'll have this fucking state. You'll be able to do whatever you want. Just not now. Therefore, by doing this now, if you did this now, like if Biden got in there and packed the Supreme Court, like a lot of people were asking last night after Amy Coney Barrett got confirmed, you're fucked, because if the Republicans are able to hold on to Texas in 2024, and they end up winning the White House back, they're going to flip that to some crazy number. This is going to be a back and forth for years and years to come. Just wait your turn. You'll get it. It's just not going to be right now.
Right.
It might be next week. Fuck, man. 6 days. Wait 6 days. But the one thing that I will say that universally he's getting buried on, him and Kamala, or however the fuck you want to pronounce it, is the fact that they won't answer this question. And it's like, just say it. Just answer the question. Just answer the question whether or not you're going to pack the courts or not. It's as simple as that. So they won't. And I kind of think with the Panera moms that you were talking about yesterday, because I didn't hear any of that shit, right? That does have to be a major concern, right? Because a woman did get in last night. They didn't break into television like they usually do and show her confirmation. That happens for every other thing. After Kavanaugh, they were like, fuck you. We're not flipping over to shit. I ended up watching it on my iPhone just to see this woman get in, who's brilliant. There's got to be something in suburban moms that say, hey, man, a woman did get in there who was not only brilliant, but unbelievably qualified. And they just kind of shit on her.
Yeah.
They've just been shitting on her for the last fucking 48 hours now. And that's got to be, if you're a suburban mom and you're thinking about voting and you're like, man, a woman like Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, they replaced her with a brilliant woman and we're just going to treat her like shit.
Yeah.
So I think there will be some resentment and that could swing some of these things, in the next 7 days. So we'll see.
Yeah. When things are a little bit crazy like this on either side, and they have been for a while, and when I hear phrases like, it's never been like this, it's the craziest, blah, 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 I like to go back to other things in politics that have been insane.
Right.
I used to think about the whole Nixon debacle, right?
Right.
And how that happened and everything that went on with that, as far as like him appointing someone that pardoned him, all of that craziness. And then I was thinking about 2000 with Al Gore and George Bush. And this isn't the craziest thing.
No.
This isn't the craziest thing that's
No.
ever happened. That shit was crazy.
Yeah.
I was reading a little bit about it, and I forgot about the Brooks Brothers protest.
What?
Did you remember that?
No.
So,
Now, if it was Men's Warehouse, I would have remembered.
you would have understood, right?
You would have liked the way you
So
look,
when
I
they were
guarantee it.
recounting, right? So Al Gore had them recount in these certain counties that he thought were going to flip for him.
In Florida?
In Florida.
Oh, I remember. Yes,
And
yes,
it
yes.
was, the hanging chads.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know for a while that chads were actually those little pieces of things in the voter.
Yeah, you thought they were fraternity brothers.
I just didn't know. I thought it was, you know what I mean? I thought Merrick Garland was Mayor Rit Garland. Mr. Rit Garland, the mayor.
The mayor, yeah.
So, I don't really know a lot of things, but I just sort of, there's some phrases, I'm a little dumb, but there's some phrases that you just go, oh, the hanging chad. And then you're like, oh, it's really just like the piece of paper that was hanging off of the ballot that
Yeah,
they punched.
yeah.
Anyways. So when they were recounting, they were doing it in some kind of government building, and all these Republicans, basically, Roger Stone was there again.
Was he really?
And had all these Brooks Brothers preppy suit wearing motherfuckers, a shit ton of them, storm this building, up the elevators to the doors of where these people are recounting, and they stopped.
And
that's how they stopped recounting the votes, and got to the point where they were like, we are not doing this. This is the president, and this is what we're doing. From the Brooks Brothers riot. And there's certain things, Panera voter, Brooks Brothers riot. I mean, shit is fucking crazy. And it always has been. And nothing now or then is going to be crazier than something going to happen in the future or something that's happening now.
Yeah.
So if it puts your mind at ease at all, which it does for me, which I need to do, right? It puts my mind at ease to know that shit has been way more fucked up and crazy in the past. Our eyes are a little bit more open now. More people's eyes are open now because we do all have not all, but most people have a common enemy, right? On either side. Yeah. But before that, we were like, oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Politics is crazy, right? And then go back to your work. Again, I do miss those days where I didn't really care
Yeah.
what was happening in politics, but shit has been crazy. If you go through the stories of things that have happened in politics, and even that night in 2000 when NBC wanted to get ahead of it, and so they announced, right? They wanted to be the first outlet to say who it was. And I think the quote was, "We not only have egg on our face, we have omelet all over our suits."
Yeah.
Which is just like, imagine that fucking happening now, right?
Oh boy.
It
could, absolutely.
I don't know if they would admit it. You know,
No.
back in the day, it was more of a thing where they could say, "We have egg on our face, we have omelet on. I'm sorry, we apologize."
I've got yolk on my
I don't
balls.
know if they would do it. Yeah, I have yolk all over my balls. Who would say that? Wolf, maybe.
Hammer the like button if you're watching on YouTube right now. Get us up that algorithm. I look back at it and, yesterday, because I sat and watched Homegirl go through.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for her and her family and everything else, because in that profession, that is the highest possible job you could get. And let's face it, you're in a very elite fraternity.
It's a lifetime appointment.
It's a lifetime. It is
insane. No one.
To me, it is more important than the president.
And again, when people are worried about what she's going to do for Trump and whatever, like, she has no allegiance to this person. She will be there long after Trump is dead. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So they have no allegiance to these people. That's the way that the court was supposed to be set up, that they're not going to help any politician out, because in the long run, that does nothing for them unless there's some kind of money being, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Exchanged behind the scenes. I don't know. Things, crazier things have happened, but that's the point of the lifetime appointment and all of this, right?
Right.
The other thing is that we do have a long way to come in feminism, right? Which I don't really support this wave, only because things like this, there are a lot of
women hate other women. And it is
and women hate themselves. And so, and men hate women. And so, it's all these things that, like, we're definitely on the losing side. But I'm not in the business of whining to get what I want and need, right? I'm in the business of keeping my head down and working hard for what it is. And I think that we have a long way to come as far as how we view, like, housewives and women that stay at home with their mom, how we view conservative women or women that don't necessarily agree with you but are powerful and moving our needle forward. Like that, it's sad to see.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's sad to see that the fact that she had a big family and that she does go to church and all these things that, she's not a bad person, but people hate her because of that. And it seems very tragic. And they're calling her Handmaid's Tale. And, she's a kept woman. And the way she talks about her husband is all these things that we're putting kind of these stigmas on. And maybe it's just me coming from LA, but I definitely felt that like there was this idea of if you stay home and take care of your kids or whatever, that it's tragic.
And it shouldn't be. It is the most important job in the world, in my opinion.
And that will be the highest level of feminism that, again, I don't think we're even close to getting to, and we're not going to get there by whining about it. We are only going to get there by really supporting women that get into certain positions, right? And supporting women of, I know this isn't really the show for it, but anyway.
No, go ahead. I don't give a shit.
But look, like that's the only way to move the needle is to see, everyone like that. Started with Hillary Clinton, talking about, I'm not going to sit home and make cookies all the time. Like that alone is like that was the beginning. She was supposed to be a feminist.
Yeah.
So that's still going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a lot of problems, but again, it's not the craziest it's been, and it's not the craziest it's going to be. So just be, try and close the computer every once in a while, unless it's our show. Don't do that. But close the computer and look around you and be like, what is really happening in my life?
Yeah.
And what is just in the computer?
And like last night, going through Twitter after she was confirmed and just reading all of this hatred that was going on, right, from the left on this one person, I tried to think back of like the overall position of the presidents for the last 20 years. Because let's face it, that's kind of before that. Life was a highway. Tommy Cox said that. Tommy Cochran said that.
Sure.
And I was
it
like,
was Rascal Flatts.
No. Don't you fucking rascal
I'm
flats
a
me on.
millennial. I'm an elder millennial.
No.
Rascal Flats is. No, I'm joking.
That is a Tommy Cox
I
song.
know.
Tom Cochran. But out of the last 20 years of all the presidents, right, starting back to Bush and the hanging chads in 2000, because that's really all I remember. I don't really remember the Clinton shit that much.
Of
George W. Bush. I remember the scandal with Monica Lewinsky. But
the fact that we don't really remember that whole shit that happened with Al Gore and George Bush is insane.
Well, that I remember, right? So that like I'm going to start from there because I was thinking about this last night, going through all this again, all the hatred on Twitter and everything else, and I was like, all right, with the office of president, what did I really fucking hate about just my life for things that were going on in the world that a president actually did over the last 20 years? I only came up with two things, literally two fucking things. Bush going into Iraq without the weapons of mass destruction and all that other bullshit. Our troops are still fucking there for 20 years, right? And I didn't like Bush that much. Like I don't think, I'm not even sure if I voted for him.
For Bush?
The second time, yeah. I think I voted for him the first time. I don't believe the second time. I wasn't that big of a fan of Bush. I wasn't a big fan of Obama either. But
I mean, they hated Bush.
Yes.
Same, not as bad. The country wasn't as tuned in, but I mean, the memes and the clips of him saying like stupid shit and SNL, and they really did go after him. And I will say they went after Clinton in the exact same way. I mean, they were trying to. It was the Russia situation all over. Bill Clinton.
Right, with
the
cigar.
They were going after him.
Yeah.
And finding, I mean, he had stuff to find, unfortunately.
He did. But no, in the last 20 years, like the things that have affected me, I guess, in my life, two things. Bush in Iraq, and then Obama and the Obamacare, where I can look back and say, all right, great. Every time I go to the fucking doctor, and I've got to sign 90 waivers, and hey, there's going to be overages, and if your health insurance doesn't cover this, we're going to send you the bill for all this. Like, those two things have personally affected my life, where I'm like, fuck that. But other than that, everything else was kind of just move it along, and some things happened, and blah, 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 to me. Therefore, it's like, I mean, what are you really bitching about? With Trump, like the economy was fucking dealing. Everybody was working. Unemployment levels were at the lowest for every single race there was in the history of this country. You can't stop a fucking pandemic or any of that shit. Like, you don't know what to do with it. Nobody knows what to do with it. Therefore, it's like, was shit really that bad? Other than you just don't like how he talks? Like, fuck it. You know? Is there any policies that he's done that has affected people negatively right now?
I mean, not me, but I'm not at not at lower level poverty or anything.
I'm not
like,
either,
so
but
I don't
to
know.
my knowledge, like friends who are like, no, man, I still get unemployment and still get all the other shit benefits that I got before.
Yeah.
Like unemployment's unemployment and everything else. Like,
I mean, but we don't hang out with poor people.
yeah.
Just joke.
Terrible
except
statement.
for Dan. I'm
Terrible
joking,
statement.
obviously.
We're real poor.
We've hired a couple poors here, and
Stop it. They have iPhones at least. You know, that's all I really care about.
Dan
What do
is
you have?
Mexico
So do the
poor.
people on the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
They have iPhones.
They have iPhones?
Yeah, they have iPhones. Yeah.
Okay, well then, that's not who I'm talking about.
Dan saw a homeless person cooking with a Traeger yesterday
they put
in
together
Austin.
they
Dead
had a
serious.
Traeger
Yes.
in their little shanty. They're just, I don't know what kind of meat they're smoking.
I think they were using Grill Your Ass Off too.
Were they really?
I
That would be amazing.
love this.
Yeah, so do I. We looked into getting tents, Drinkin Bros podcast tents.
I'm
and
gonna
then
take
handing
credit
them out
for
to
that.
the homeless. Oh, was that you?
That was
That's
me,
funny.
but we were saying, well, actually, me and Dirty Dan were saying we should give them T-shirts, right? Hand out T-shirts.
They're billboards.
Right.
Yeah, free advertising.
And they're
for the
everywhere, and they're
show.
just going to stand right in the freeway. We see them every time right here.
Be the
a
best.
tent would be a great
Great idea.
logo.
Also, living in a van now has become kind of like this find yourself
I know.
20s thing.
It is,
I
yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well, especially in Los Angeles. So the living in the van thing got real big when that woman did that piece where she was an agent's assistant at CAA.
Okay.
And she was living out of her car, and then she was telling people how to do it because she moved from one side of the street to the other, and there's streets in LA where the street sweeping is on Mondays, and then you flop it over, and then you put your car back, and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And what you don't realize with all these big Hollywood agencies is your salary as an assistant, they work you to the bone, dude. Like 12, 14 hours a day. They do not care. It's kind of like a fraternity type sitch, but it lasts 3 to 4 years before you can become an agent. You pay like $27,000, which in LA you just cannot live on.
Holy shit, it's true.
Yeah. So
It's true.
a lot of them have jobs on the weekends and everything else. But the problem is, the agents expect you to read all these scripts on the weekends and everything else. And so that became like a trendy thing. And then, they showed the inside of her van and everything else where it was all decked out and everything else. And you're just like, oh, isn't this fun? This is a fun little lifestyle and blah, 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 blah. I was like, I guess, if that's what you want to do. But
It's happening in DC too.
DC, yes.
So like all my friends that went to work on the Hill, they get paid like $20K a year, like nothing.
Yeah.
They have like multiple jobs, but they're the ones reading the bills.
Exactly. They're reading the bills, and those bills, by the way, that come into the offices of those congressmen, they're like fucking 9,000 pages. And they're so boring. It's like reading an endless lawsuit that never stops. And to do coverage on it, because it's the same way with scripts in Hollywood. These assistants have to read all these scripts and then do coverage on it. So it's like 3 to 4 pages of what this movie is about, who would be right for it, who the clients at the agency would be right for, and blah, blah, blah. Same with these fucking bills, right? You have to read these goddamn bills and then do coverage on it for the senators. And they'll just come in and be like, what does this say? Well, it says drugs are bad and dirt's, not good for your mouth and everything else. Great. Should I sign this? Yes, your constituents would like you to sign this probably.
Right.
Awesome. Then I will sign it.
Yeah.
I don't even know if those motherfuckers read that shit.
No.
No, they're doing it while they're bar backing.
No.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the
yeah.
actual senators.
Oh,
I don't.
no.
They don't read
No.
what their
They
clerks.
take the word of their assistants.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. They don't read it. They don't read any of these bills.
The country's being run right now by
22-year-old poor
Yeah.
people living in vans.
Yes.
Who hope to become something there. DC, I've said this for years. DC is the Hollywood of politics, where it's just a bunch of people having fake conversations about things.
Fake business.
Yes, just doing fake business, like Tim Dillon says. Where you're just like, all right, sweet, man. I always thought that would be an interesting reality show.
What?
The young DC people, because they fucking rage too. And there's like these crazy drugs and sex and like, dude, Dan's shaking his head over there. It's nuts because there's so much pressure to fit in and try to move up this political ladder and this landscape that it's like most of them bottom out and get the fuck out of there, or you just get burnt out on it.
Right.
Same with the assistants in Hollywood for these Hollywood agencies.
Yeah.
Like you get burnt out on it, reading these scripts, and you have to really love it. Is all I will say. But the odd thing about it to me, with the DC element of it and these assistants, is if you love politics that much, you should go back and run in your own district, and then you're making $175K if you become a congressman for one of these districts.
Right.
And then you're in it. You're in there every day, and you're the cool kid.
I mean, is it?
I tell you what, this will be the first election where we find out, because we have a friend that's running, Alex Garletos.
That's right.
Like a genuine friend who's running, where it's like these other people that we've had on the Drinkin Bros and all this stuff, like Dan Crenshaw and all these guys, they're not real friends. Like I wouldn't call them my homies, where I'm going to fucking bro out with these guys. So
They're
I don't get.
cool. We love to talk to them, but yeah.
And they're great, brilliant people. But I don't know. Where I would like to get Alec in there and then just be like, hey, man, what's the real shit of this? Like on the inside.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then I would have the answer. Right now, I've
the
never
guy
been
you-
homies with anybody that I have the answer.
The guy you guys talked to, Matt
Matt Gates. Yeah.
He's as close to like maybe you could be like, what's the real deal? Very open, transparent.
I think so.
Maybe, but
I think so. But I don't. Even him, he was great on our show, and it was an awesome show, and he's a fascinating guy, and he's a lights out interview, and is one of the best we've had.
Yeah.
But I don't bro out with him in real life, where I'm like, hey man, what's the real sitch with this, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I'd be curious to see what really goes on and what it's really like, because what he had said on the show sounded brutal, and some of my friends who are in local politics, not on that level, have said their friends have said it's pretty brutal too. That the travel schedule is intense.
Yeah.
So intense that the guy that Alec is running against, Garletos, in his district right now, I go, dude, do you have to fly back to DC for all these votes? And he goes, yes. And I was like, do they give you a private jet? Like, how does that work? And he's like, no, it's commercial. and you got to fly commercial. And I was like, well, shit, from where you live, I would imagine you've probably got to fly out of Portland and then go to DC. I was like, is there even a straight shot for that? Is that a one-way? And he goes, they did book a one-way for it simply because you got to get these guys back. And I was like, fuck, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's 2 different airports in DC, and because I couldn't figure that out either. I was like, why is there 2 different airports in DC? Like, why is this necessary? And it's like, well, you got to get these people back and forth across the country and everything else. So, strange.
Do you mind if I switch gears a little bit?
Go ahead, fire it. Yeah.
In a new segment that I would like to call "Me and Kim Kardashian Are Living the Same Life," she her 40th birthday celebration is on a private island. She rented out a private island for her 40th and is the getaway is super lavish, and she's had all of her guests quarantined. She found an island that they had no cases, COVID cases. Dan looks like he has something to say.
Yeah.
This is Pablo Escobar's former island.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
I mean, that would make it even.
Always up for rent.
I think it might be. I think it might be.
Is it always up for rent?
Yeah.
Is it kind of like a Snoop Dogg? You can get them for $20 and a dinner.
You can get these islands. You can. And there was...
Again, me and her, same life.
Yeah. There was a friend who pitched it and just said, hey, man, you can get this island. It was in Fiji. And he was like, look, you can get the island and here's how much it costs.
Okay.
Does it say how much her island costs in there?
No.
Okay.
No. They only disclose whatever they want to disclose because they control their narrative 100%. But yeah, I mean, if you had money though, of course, and you wanted to have a party where people aren't going to fucking talk shit about you
or
for not
pictures.
Wearing a mask or having a fucking thing, then you put out a release that you are going to a private island where they have no COVID cases and all of your guests are tested multiple times and quarantined for 2 weeks and we're all being safe and someone's still going to get it.
Yeah, easily. The same thing happened with Ronaldo when this hit. He rented an entire private island for him and his family, flew them down there, and it was just like, we're going to stay safe from COVID. And then he comes back and got COVID. It was just like, hey,
so that may
cares?
happen.
Yeah, dude. One of those fuckers is going to get it down there. You know?
Yeah.
And speaking of Kim Kardashian, I listened to that Kanye West interview on Rogan.
How much were you able to get through? Most people said about 20 minutes on here, if that, and that's a lot.
I was about 35.
Oh, wow. That was just one question, by the way.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It was very odd. Like, there was a lot of hype for this. And we've been talking about it for a long time. Everybody's been talking about it for a long time.
It was supposed to happen before, and then
a year ago,
COVID,
multiple years.
Yeah, right.
Years, yeah.
They've been talking about it for a while.
Long time. And so I was amped to listen to it, and I was just like, all right, cool. Because Rogan had put out a statement that said, I think you will think differently of Kanye West after this, and he was clear and coherent and everything else. And I was like, oh, great. Well, shit. I'm all in. No, that was not the case.
That would be a sight to see
for
sure.
Any of it. That was just nonsense talk for 3 hours. And the odd part about it was Joe Rogan did not try to press him on anything or really talk about shit. And I was like, man, I get a bunch of messages that were like, I would rather have heard you interview Kanye unless you could have kept it on track. Like, you can't let someone like that just talk forever and ever.
Well, here's what I will say about him. He does get to a point eventually, right? He does land on some really kind of brilliant things, but you have to have the patience to listen from the beginning of the thought blah, 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 to the end. And if you put it all together, it's actually quite... No? Am I crazy?
Here's the
I'm
thing.
with you.
It needs to be
Giorgio's the only one
edited.
with me?
It needs to be edited to the point where you need a real strong...
Look,
you need
crazy.
a Hollywood editor to make
crazy.
it. Yes. And in his mind, it makes sense. And then, if you listen to it for about 2 hours and cut the pieces together, because if I was in an edit bay for that interview and somebody had turned that into me, it would probably have been about 28 minutes. I would have cut the other 2 hours and 22 minutes of that nonsense out.
Well, here's how the edit would work. He would start the answer, and then you'd cut out 20 minutes, and then just put the end of it and the beginning of it together, and it would be a cohesive like thought, right? It's just how he reaches it is a hard road to go down.
It is, and it's sad to say that I didn't enjoy that. But a bunch of people had sent us shit like, "Hey man, what did you think?" And they had all had the same thing of like, I didn't like this. I felt the same way about the Post Malone one though. Like I was really looking forward to that, but you know, you can't do mushrooms and then expect everybody to be in on your highness of that.
If I'm gonna choose between those two, I would go Kanye. The Post Malone one. It was literally like somebody telling me their acid trip that they had yesterday or their dream from the night before. I cannot. Like you're not invested in any way, right? Mm-hmm. You're not there. You're not in it. So if I were to choose between those two, I would take Kanye for sure. 100%.
Instead of the fever dream that was the mushroom experience of Post Malone.
It took me back to doing mushrooms with my friends and thinking that we were just so brilliant and so funny. And the embarrassment of that was overwhelming listening to that interview where I was just like, God, I am such a fucking idiot.
Yeah, there's a reason why I don't do any drugs like to create shit, because it's all like it's all nonsense in the end. And like you realize there was a couple of times where you try to write some shit down and you're like, oh man, this is brilliant. You wake up in the morning and it was just like, no. I remember once I was having a really hard time getting to sleep and I took an edible and I was writing and I was in the middle of one of these St. James books. I think it was the second one, the last one. And in my mind, like it had kicked in and I didn't know. And so I caught myself like 2 hours later, like, whoa, man, I was pretty high. But I was like, man, I think this is really good. I think what I did is really good. I can't wait to get up in the morning and read it. I got up in the morning and read it. It was written all in the third person. And I had become the person, and I'm describing myself to myself in this. And it was just 4 pages of, complete and utter nonsense where I literally just had to copy and paste and then delete the entire thing. Like not one word of it was good. And I was like, well, I'll never do that again.
You should have kept it.
No, it was so embarrassing. It's just like you said, where you were like, dude, I would be embarrassed of that. It was so embarrassing to me that I was like, I can't even keep this and put it out as like a funny joke.
Yeah.
Because people would think that I'm a stupid person.
Sure.
I didn't keep it.
Just real quick, Reed pretty much always wins the comments, but he said the Post Malone interview was like a small child trying to explain a color to a dog. And I really feel that. I also feel attacked. But yeah, that's what it was. Like they were trying to figure out just the origin of the color blue. And you're like, bro, I can't do this.
Who said that? Reed White?
Yeah, no, Reed Schneider.
Schneider.
No, sorry.
Ruben Schneider. That's really funny.
Rube always comes. Remember, he's the leathery poon.
Leathery poon, yeah.
Rube really dominates.
The message
as well
boards.
as Craig and Richard and
that
everyone
is so funny. That is the perfect analogy.
It really is, because it's just like, what?
Yeah.
But it made so much sense to them. Everything was they were really coming to these conclusions.
Yeah.
Gosh, but no one's ever thought of it.
No, but that's the beauty of podcasting. You know,
it really is.
Do whatever you want. And it's his show. He can do whatever he wants. As a huge fan, though, you're like, fuck, I want to get to some shit, because chances are none of us will ever get to interview Kanye. What are we, 0 for 5 on Post Malone? I've gotten fucked up with him 5 times, but like,
yeah,
you know,
it'll happen.
It's just
last I looked, the Kanye was at like 6 million. Can anybody see what it is now?
Look it up on the views on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're through the roof.
Yeah.
It was like double of Matthew McConaughey, because McConaughey was on last week as well.
Well, it's double like most of his show.
So McConaughey's been out on the Stumpin', doing a lot of press for his new book, and he's doing it all on Zoom.
Green lights.
Green lights, man. You just got to go in this life. You got to wait. You got to go. Green lights, man. Here we go. And I love it. I love the whole shit of it. And I actually, I love McConaughey, obviously, but that book, the title, everything in it, makes perfect sense for who he is and what he is all about. And on these interviews, by the way, he's been unbelievably honest, telling these crazy stories about his life and everything that nobody knew. And those have been fascinating to me. And it was like, man, all right, cool.
I think that's the way to do it with that kind of stuff. Like he could have talked about his, molestation or stuff that happened with his family a long time ago when people were being very open about everything.
Right.
And he didn't, right?
Uh-huh.
He waited till he's like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah.
Kind of done in life. I'm, working at school. I'm a teacher, right? I'm hanging with my family. He waited until I think a good point in his career where people will be like, oh shit, man, I didn't know that. I didn't know you went through that. I didn't know that was your life. Like, I think that's the way to do it. That's how I like to do it.
Yeah, same.
I like to talk about it after when it's not a fresh, raw thing that you kind of sound like you're having a nervous breakdown. Like,
Yeah.
More when you're on the other side of it and you can help people by being who you are and being successful and showing that there's bad things that can happen.
Yeah.
But you could be fucking McConaughey if you wanted.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, look, it wasn't all, kitten dicks and kaleidoscopes for McConaughey. Like,
No, that's like most of the book and things that he's revealing is
Yeah.
things that, definitely could have come out in other interviews before, for sure.
the relationship with his mom was the most surprising thing
Yeah.
to me, where I was just like, he said he didn't talk to his mom for 8 years.
Yeah, because
the fame got to her. Not him, but it got to her.
She wasn't understanding, right? So she would like do these interviews. She would let press into her house and do tours and talk about him and his life and reveal these things that he's like, dude, no.
Those
that's not how
conversations
this
I had
works.
with you were in private,
Yes.
and you're going to the press
Yes.
with them. I can't trust you.
Yeah.
And he didn't talk to his mom for 8 years, and I was like, oh shit. But he's been great and unbelievably open. And the reason why I wanted to bring it up today is I wonder if it weren't for COVID, would he be this honest about things where it's like, I think all of Hollywood, big actors in particular, right, who have had great careers like McConaughey and everything else, I think you're able to reflect a little bit knowing that the end is coming movie-wise and things like that, to the point where you're like, all right, cool, man. I'm not sure where the career is going, but here's my life and here's what really happened. And I'm going to be a lot more honest than I would be if I was out just shooting movies every day, giving these fucking janky 8-minute interviews on Fallon or whatever.
Well, I said this in the beginning of the quarantine when things are starting to come out, like Crystalia and it seemed like all these things, and people were, talking out against agencies and, all these people, directors, whoever. But I did say when people realize that they don't have anything to lose,
Yeah.
that's when people can really be honest, right? When they realize that they're not having to worry about getting a job with Ellen. I think it started with Ellen when people were starting to come out. When you realize that there's nothing, you can't lose anything, can't lose your job, you already lost it, then you can really talk about things in a real way.
Yeah, and it can be good or bad. So we've talked about the bad side of it throughout this COVID experience, where every celebrity feels like they need to hop on and fucking share their lives. And it's like you have the Julianne Houghs and the Rocks and all this other shit. Yeah.
Good morning.
Where you just start talking like a fucking bird.
Feeling down? Just make yourself a water with lemon. For me, it's a great way to start the day and cleanse and reset.
Thanks, Julianne.
Yep. And that's exactly what it's been. And then for others, like McConaughey, he's been awesome. I saw an interview with Jimmy Fallon this morning that was awesome, where they were like, look, the first question for every celebrity right now is, how are you dealing with the quarantine, the pandemic? How are you dealing with it? Jimmy Fallon was remarkably open and honest this morning, where he was just like, I've been doing the show. We've been doing it through Zoom. And he goes, there's no audience or anything like that. And he goes, I don't know when there's going to be an audience. I have no fucking idea. And I think it was Hoda who was just like, well, how have you changed, or how has it changed you? Mm-hmm. And he goes, to be honest, like, I've become a better listener and I think a better interviewer, because there is no audience. There is no thing. I'm in my house. They're in their house. And I'm just having a conversation with people again. Whereas I didn't have that when there was an audience and a crowd and segments and all this stuff. Yeah, because
he is a comedian and a performer. So if there is an audience there, you're not necessarily listening to the person. You're kind of playing to
get
the
laughs
audience them, and you're all kind of split. But
but it was interesting to hear him talk about it, because he's been doing it for years and years and years. And to come out and say like, hey, I could be a better interviewer. I could get better at this or this or this. Like, it was cool, and he was very reflective as well.
Yeah.
Whereas, the rest of these dipshits on Instagram are just like, just losing their mind. Go vote. My phone keeps going off with it's voting people, dude. That's all. It's just lit up text of voting people. Did you vote? The rules are bad. You're from North Carolina. I don't live there anymore. Right. So don't send me your bullshit.
Right.
Now, if I could have filled out a ballot and popped that in the mail there,
Nope.
I would have.
No.
You know what?
Do not do that.
I didn't do it, but I would have.
Right,
I would have loved it.
And we
I would have loved
done
it. You know why I didn't get it?
We don't do it.
I don't do it. Yep.
Yep.
Huh? Yep. Bye. You know why I didn't do it, by the way?
Well,
I never went to the DMV and got the license change when we moved houses in North Carolina because I just don't believe in that. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in going to the DMV for an address change at all.
Oh, no. I don't do that either.
No, I don't do that either.
No,
so
no.
I think the ballots was sent to that house.
Got it.
And all I can hope for, actually, I know the people who bought, not this last one, but the one before. I know those people, and like the dude was like an artist, and it's like, dude, he's gonna probably vote me for Biden there. So,
Well,
yeah,
he's not. I mean, he's not.
Probably gonna fuck my jeans. No, he's gonna fuck my jeans, dude. He's gonna fuck my whole jeans up there, and it's just what it is. It's just what it is. But if there was a ballot out there, Jabes, I don't know. Might have filled it out, checked it in the mail.
No, man.
Yes.
We do not fucking condone that.
We got a guy in the group, Big Dick Danoff. He had a table displayed with 10 ballots that he got.
Well, he doesn't need to tell us, but I'm hoping he didn't.
It was a picture. No, there's a private
out.
group on Facebook. There's a private Ross Patterson Revolution Facebook, and all of us were just like, fill them out. Fucking who cares?
Because the only way this really works is if it's real, right?
Is it? I don't think it's. Whatever happens on either side, no one will accept it. So I don't really care. It's not going to be real.
But it's comments like that make people not accept it.
Right. But that's what I think is going to happen. And I don't want to lie to people.
Okay.
Like, that's what I think is genuinely going to happen. Everybody keeps asking too. Every day I get messages because people are worried about the media and everything else. And I was like, no, Trump will have the Electoral College. This will be over right around 12:30. And then Democrats will bitch, probably not concede, and say, wait for the mail-in ballots. And this thing will probably be over by like Thanksgiving, where it's just like, all right, great. And then they'll blame it on the Supreme Court. Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett turned it down. We had these mail-in ballots, and it was crazy. We weren't counted. This isn't fair. Because I read another article this morning that was a court blocked it in Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin, that just said they had asked for an extension. The Democratic Party had asked for an extension of 6 days beyond the November 3rd to count these absentee ballots. And the Supreme Court of Wisconsin was like, no. Why? The ballots are already mailed out. It's your fucking job to get them back in there. Like, why are we going to give you an extra 6 days? The date is November 3rd of the election, not the 9th. So I don't really give a shit about that. People are like, it's rigged. It's fucking rigged. It's not going to be real. That's all we're going to get. So I'm fully prepared for that. And I'm getting absolutely sauced that evening. And I'm going to enjoy my life. That's it. And then the big bets, which we'll get to. Stay tuned this afternoon for Drinkin Bros Sports. MyBookie is our sponsor, mybookie.com. Promo code Drinkin Bros will double your deposits. Everybody was asking for the big bet this week. Each week on the sports show, I usually make one gigantic bet. And it was Trump this week. So the odds were in my favor. He's not favored. Like, it's not even close. So you put $2,000 down, you win 2,500. That is a big boy number back for something like that. And I'm surprised because I think only once in the last 105 years is an incumbent lost. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Somebody threw us a 5-spot. Jacob Nickel, he said, every time I get a political text, I just message them, don't worry, I already voted for your candidate 3 times.
It's a good one.
Man, Dan's been answering the phone in the office, which has been hilarious.
Great.
Like, he'll answer the phone and talk to these people.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. We just want to take a quick survey from you. And he'll be like, yep. What are we talking about?
Let's go.
Yeah, so yesterday's was, it started with, so, sir, 5 questions. What is most important to you in this upcoming presidential election? Climate change? I mean, and it went through the list. Economy, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Dan was like, it ain't the climate change, homie.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care about that.
I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and it's like with 1 week left to go, I guess because North Carolina, obviously we just came from there, is a swing state. I guess because it's that, and all of these text messages are coming from North Carolina. So
Right.
I don't know. But if you're trying to figure it out now, 6 sleeps before the election, chances are you don't have the state figured out. So what the fuck's it going to matter anyways?
Yeah.
You know, you can farm out to India all you want and have them ask them all the questions in the world. And it's not going to make a goddamn difference. I guarantee it.
Guarantee it.
Now, if the guy from Men's Warehouse was on the ballot, I think that would have really shocked the third. Like, as a third party, I think a third party would have won this year. You know what I'm saying? Hammer the like button on YouTube. We got some sponsors who pay for this whole show to be on the air, which is still shocking day after day after day. First and foremost is ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. That's a nice look, Jabes. Do that? Yeah. Yeah. Lay down.
She's a lady.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. She's a lady. And she needs a special bed. That bed is from ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. The best sheets, too, by the way.
Oh, yes.
We got blood on ours, and I'm not really sure how. I just saw blood stain on them today when I got out of bed. Not really sure how. Yeah.
Let's be.
I think it's from a child. No, it's not from you. It's on my side.
Yeah, but
it's
you
from a
can't just
child.
like say that.
There's blood
it's
on- there's blood
on
on the
your
sheets.
side,
Yeah.
and it's a little spot.
I think it's a child, but either way, it's weird. And I noticed that when I was leaving today, and I was like, shit. I'm going to have to order some more ghost sheets from ghostbed.com. I love those goddamn things. It's hard to get blood out of sheets no matter where it
Gosh,
is.
you really just say whatever, huh?
Why not? We are who we are,
Very
Jabes.
Kanye of you.
We are who we are.
We are who we are.
It's very Kesha of me. Turn it up at ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. Sorry that I named a Kesha song.
Yes.
36-month pay-as-you-go program, no interest there. So if you're a member of the military, a first responder, teacher, or work in the government, you get 30% off. You can put that all on that deal. You also have an October surprise of a 30% off bundle package, and that goes in that deal as well. You get no interest. It's like $38 a month. You can live like a little tiny king, and watch the world burn on November 3rd, because it's going to. Next up, Jabes, we got manscaped.com.
Ooh, love it.
Yeah. Shaving our fathers, shaving our brothers, shaving everything in between.
Shaving your nethers and shaving your others.
Fathers are penis, balls are brothers.
Okay.
So fathers, brothers. Why does that keep going to black, Giorgio? Okay. I was wondering, I was like, man, did we get hit by lightning here? Manscaped.com/Drinkin Bros. No, it's not. It's the promo code there. It's the promo code. And I'm giving the wrong. It's Revolution.
Promo code Revolution.
20% off.
So we do know about the nether region.
Yes.
But they also have the weed whacker
whack the weeds.
for the upper region.
Yes,
Do you have
yes.
a name for nose, ears, and eyebrows?
Yeah.
So the other was father.
The face holes is what I call them.
Okay.
So for your face holes, you can just really jam those in there.
Yep.
Ears, nose, face holes. Just jam it right in there, shave everything up, and you're good to go. And the Lawnmower 3.0 is the jam as well. The Weed Whacker is the best. It's just, they're super unbelievably nice products, and it's something that everybody fucking needs, to be honest with you. It's
like nice, well-made, amazing products with a sense of humor, which what else can you ask for in this
life? Yeah. If you're having sex with a woman or a man in this life, keep your shit shaved up. That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. Go to manscaped.com, promo code Revolution, 20% off. Last but not least, StrikeForceEnergy.com.
Boom, 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 boom. Shablankers.
Bruce Schley, the owner of Strikeforce, hit me up yesterday. And he said, what up, dude? Give me a shout out on the show. I will, Bruce. He invented it. He's an inventor.
Okay.
Yeah, he made it. It's weird, right? To say that he's an inventor and like a chemist and things like that.
Yeah.
An inventor.
Sure.
You know, lasts longer than 5-hour energy, and it's the best tasting, by the way. I know I pop it into everything all the time, and I'm up and at 'em, dude. Every day, grape, original, lemon, orange, 10-pack, 40-pack, 750 milliliter bottle. They'll ship everywhere in the entire world, and that shit keeps me.
I don't know.
Keep me all rocked up. I need it flowing through my veins.
Just a bucking bronco, and I'm just trying to hold on. Just trying to figure out.
I'm a tiny cowgirl.
I'm a tiny cowgirl.
Working on my cow. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
What are you not going to say, though, if you were going to not say it?
I'm working on my reverse position. I'm a tiny
Right.
cowgirl working on my
Right.
reverse position.
Right.
And I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
Right. You pick the dish, I pick the position.
Where'd you hear that?
Well, you had said that on another show because we were going to a restaurant and you're like, she picks the restaurant and I pick the dish.
Yeah.
And then I was like, lost opportunity, right? So one of those things that like 2 weeks later you come up with a like joke for it. And people are like, that was a long time ago.
I like
but
it.
But you pick the dish and I pick the position.
That's actually huge. That should be a T-shirt. You pick the dish, I pick the position. I like that.
She just Costanza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I Costanza's. Oh, where it's
Seinfeld. A boink, a boink, a
hey
boink,
guys,
boink, boink,
I've
boink,
come up with a
boink,
comeback.
boink,
Yeah.
boink.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that. I'm also a big fan of, I can't believe I'm about to say this, the Saved by the Bell reboot trailer. They keep dropping these little trailers and they keep looking better and better. I found out why. It's the writers of 30 Rock.
Oh.
So
well,
I thought
amazing.
Yeah. I thought for sure. I was like, this is going to be a disaster.
I like
I did not know.
anything that they do.
Yes. Same.
Top to bottom.
It's funny. It is topical.
It's quick.
The other part about it is I've always hated when they make children look like children because I don't want to watch them fucking or making out and shit like that, right? It's what I've always liked about teen movies, even the ones that I was in. We were all like mid-20s, right? Which was rad.
So it's not uncomfortable to see you
no,
guys
not at
hooking
all.
up.
In
Yeah.
high school or whatever, right? They did the same thing with this, which is great. So when you see him, you're like, oh, that kid's fucking 26. He was in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool.
It's just easier to digest.
Elizabeth Berkley's back. Mario Lopez has not aged one day. He might actually still be in high school.
One bit. And then Mark Paul
Gosselaar. Yeah.
Gosselaar.
He's
aged well.
Yeah. Well, he's aged. Yeah.
But he's Dad D.
Yeah.
Dad
Yeah.
D.
Yeah. It depends.
He's done it well. No, he's done it really well.
Have you seen him on the new show?
Yes.
Mixish?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right.
He's great.
All right, great.
Well, look, now they have him with these weird, a fake mustache and hair and all, right? Like
I couldn't tell. Is it real or is it not?
No, I mean, it's a wig.
Okay.
In real life.
Great wig work then, because I thought it was real. I'm a big fan of that wig work. If there's one thing I like in this world, it's really great wig work. Proper wig work is what I really, really like in this world.
Sure.
But I'm in for it. Like, you get the writers from 30 Rock. I'm in for
whatever they do.
Yeah. I mean, those guys don't miss. You watched the other show that she did.
Was it Good News?
Yeah.
Great News?
How was it?
Oh, okay, yeah, that was okay. Timmy Schmidt was better.
Kimmy Schmidt was fucking
Schmidt
awesome.
is fucking great.
Yeah.
But I liked Great News.
Okay, cool.
Took a second to get into it, but it ended up being fucking hilarious, and I was into it.
Okay. All right. I'll give it a shot.
Great News. Sorry, I just want to make sure.
Great News. I think it's Great News, right? I'll look it up as well, but
yes, Great
News. Yes, it is. It is Great News. The other thing that was going on last night was Philadelphia, I guess, had this fucking crazy rioting and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't show one single second of that on the news.
Yeah.
30 officers were injured. It was Black Lives Matter protesting. There was a man who was shot 10 times by a cop.
Oh, God.
Well, he charged him with a knife in the middle of the street, and they had the footage of it, right?
Right.
Joe Biden had said on the campaign trail, he's like, maybe we can teach him to shoot him in the leg or something like that.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer, Joe. But either way, businesses burned down. Everything got fucking trashed, and 30 cops were injured. Not one word of that on the news. I didn't see one story and or article. It was buried deep in my inbox where I was like, they were like, it was a cop from Philadelphia sent me to me. It was like, hey man, did you see what happened last night? I was like, no. And I didn't hear one fucking word about it because no one is talking about that right now.
Were they talking about the protest for Amy Coney Barrett?
Well, I just saw the hatred for her online, but was there protest for her?
Yeah, big protest outside
Where was that
the
at?
U.S. Capitol, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, tons of protests. Pretty tense, not wearing masks, getting into arguments. No one was hurt, but there was quite a few people very, very angry. I don't know. I didn't see anything about it, but
Well, if you think it's bad now, just wait till next week.
right.
Because I went all in. I bet I even put my money on it. I put my money on Trump. So I went all the way in where it's just like, hey man, there's no doubt left for me personally at this point. So if it's bad now, it'll probably be real bad next week, you know?
Right.
But the curious thing is, like we talked about yesterday, is like, what happens if Biden wins? Does everybody go back to work the next day? Does protests stop? Does everything just stop because your candidate finally won?
Yeah, I don't know.
What happens in Portland? And
That would really prove, if that was true, that would really prove that it was all them causing all of this
I know.
shit, right? But if there are some protests, violent, whatever, then it would show that it's not any one person or one party. It's
Right.
just how we all are dealing with shit right now, right?
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see.
Win or
if
lose,
it would
yeah.
be like, oh well, that was all you guys, I guess.
Yes, that's
'Cause
just
nobody's
what you
doing
did.
shit now.
No, everybody else has got to go back to work tomorrow.
Right. We don't have time.
Part of me is curious to see that, where it's just like, all right, Biden wins. Hey man, are you guys going back to work or what are you doing? What does Portland do? What does Seattle do? What do you do at that point?
Rip
Do you-
Van Winkle themselves?
Yeah,
or
do you
Rumpels-
take the spray cans and just go back to Home Depot and ask for a refund? Like, hey,
Right.
this one
Don't
was
need these
unused.
anymore.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
need these anymore. Do you return all that wood? It's a lot of wood. A lot of 2x4s.
A lot of 2x4s.
I haven't seen that many 2x4s since Hacksaw Jim Duggan was in the ring back in the day. What do you do with all that lumber?
Right.
All those nails,
Yeah.
all that spray paint. What do you do with
Home
it?
Depot is really good at taking stuff back, even without a receipt. So
Okay.
I know that because I should be a lesbian, but I'm not.
You do love Home Depot.
I love Home Depot.
Is it the scent that gets you when you walk in?
Yeah, and it's a lumber. It's a
Yeah,
lumber,
it's a lumber
scent.
scent.
Yeah, it's a lumber and like a PVC pipe. Like you could smell that being
Yeah.
cut. You know. So yeah, I love it. I love it. I don't leave there without a tool belt. I have about 20 in my closet. I just like to get new, fun, flirty, shiny
Yeah.
tool belts.
No, I get it.
And not use them.
And no tools for them.
No tools. Yeah,
Just
yeah,
the belts.
It's just the idea of it. What were you gonna say?
There was people are posting now for the mail-in ballots here. It says very important. Today is the deadline USPS recommends for sending back your mail ballots to make sure it's counted. Better yet, drop it off if you can. 30 states require ballots to be received by Election Day, as SCOTUS ruled in Wisconsin yesterday. Yeah, why wouldn't they? Wait, what? We have to turn it in by the Election Day? You don't say. That's weird.
Yeah, but postmarked, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying yesterday.
What the fuck? It's got to be postmarked by today, so it gets into the thing by Election Day.
Oh, the postmark is today?
Yeah, today's a deadline that they're recommending to mail it back in so your vote counts.
Recommending. But legally, I think the deadline, can someone, sorry, look that up, but I think the deadline that it has to be postmarked by,
Yeah,
what is it?
Election
The
Day.
Second?
it's got to
Third?
be. It's got to be received by Election Day. It says 30 states are saying it has
thought
to
it was
be
a postmark.
received by Election Day. So,
Go ahead, I'm fact checking you.
No, I'm literally just reading the article
okay.
right now. So
I know they're recommending that, but what's the real postmark date that it has to be?
It says 30 states require ballots to be received by Election Day. So
Okay.
as long as it's received by then. Now, how fast or slow your UPS is, I mean, or USPS
That's
is.
why they're doing the postmark.
Yeah. So
Because it's a state by state choice.
it
right?
is. Yeah, it's a state by state choice.
So yeah, each state has their own rules on how the voting is processed there.
Correct.
To then vote in the federal election.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So but 30 of them though are all 30 out of the 50 are all the same. So it's like, whatever, man. So yeah, look, we're 6 days before, so that makes sense. Yeah, have it in. Are you fucking dumb, dude? It's like mailing in a bill or a utility bill, you know?
Yeah, like if it's late,
If it's due on the 15th, you should probably mail it in by the 10th. Like, it's just common sense at this point. But I guess we're all fucking dumb, right? All of us are just so dumb that we need to be told what to do because none of us can figure it out. We're all just a big bunch of fucking dummies. Do this, do that, you stupid. They might as well just say, hey, stupid. I think that would be a better campaign. Hey, stupid. And it's just like pictures of us.
Right. So I know, so it says in North Carolina, maybe that's where I'm getting it, but the ballots will be accepted as long as they arrive by November 12th, which clear postmark dated no later than election day.
Well, so North Carolina itself has got some weird laws as far as elections.
Okay.
Remember, that's the state that you don't need an ID to vote either.
That's right.
So you can just walk right up. And I remember last time I voted, they were like, no. Don't show us your ID. We don't need to know who you are and if you're actually that person. Just give us your address.
No.
No, they were like, we don't want to see it.
They didn't want to see it.
No, they did not want to see my.
They were
And this is a swing state.
swing states.
Yes.
Yes. Very important in this election.
Because people were bitching about Texas, and again, I voted here already, and yeah, dude, I just show my ID and everything else, and they were like, oh, they just make it so difficult to vote. Why? Because I'm an American citizen, I have to show my ID to vote?
Yeah.
What? Why is that difficult? Oh, it's voter suppression.
Well, it's just a little crazy, huh? No, I'm just kidding.
Jeez, man.
But yeah. So it'd be interesting. I mean, I guess you're right. You would have to go through every state and figure out what
Chaos.
they're accepting votes until the 12th. Jesus Christ.
You figured there would be a national kind
Some kind of federal,
ordinance.
Yeah. And I had brought up to some friends of mine the other night the dark horse of Ivanka running in 2024.
Sure.
Because Jared Kushner is the one that's cutting all these deals in the Middle East. And like that guy is, I'm telling you, he's behind the scenes on all of this shit and is slowly just collecting data, getting ready for a potential run as first mail. Is that what it's called? Madam President? Or what's the first lady? What is it? The first man? First house boy?
It would have to be first man.
Yeah. First fuck boy? Whatever it is, right?
I would hope that they would call it first boy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whenever there is a woman president, I think it would really be a great fuck you if she changed that. Just an executive order.
Right.
To first boy.
First boy would be awesome, right?
Really awesome.
And I'd support it. It'd be hilarious, and I would love it. First boy, I would love to talk about it and everything else. But I said this is where politics was headed, where it's just going to be about your name and fame and all in your branding at that point. And then, interestingly enough, that Smartless podcast with Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes, which thank God they started one.
Yes, gosh.
They just weren't making enough money.
No one asked for it.
Nope.
Good for them.
They can barely stretch out 42 minutes.
But
those three guys.
They are killing
I love
it.
Jason Bateman and Will Arnett too. But when I look that you can't even stretch 42 minutes on some of these shows with some of the most famous people on the planet, what does that say about super famous people? One of them is Reese Witherspoon. So the one that dropped today was she's saying she wants to run for office one day. She'll win. That's what's going to happen. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, you were joking about Kim Kardashian at the top. I think that's the next logical run. Because on the fucking Joe Rogan interview with Kanye, he said, I might run for governor if the president doesn't work out and all this other stuff. Like, now if you flipped it for
nice
Kim.
to know he has a plan.
If you flipped it for Kim and she ran in her district, landslide. Right? Who would beat Kim Kardashian in an election?
Yeah, it's just a sad thing to think about.
What's sadder is I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I don't
Some
either.
sort of small local government with what she's
Same.
been trying to do.
I don't hate it either.
Don't hate it.
And I look, the way she started off her life and everything else, I was just like, holy fuck, this is going to be a train wreck and tragic and everything else, right? But out of all the celebrities, she's actually trying to free people and help and do all this shit, right? She's in law school. She's trying to do the right thing. If there's a person that's not really going to be swayed, she has enough money, she has enough shit. Why else would she do it? And she'd be forced to be there for these votes and everything. So it's not like you can't really just bounce on that. For California, makes total sense. That state's a whole box of fucks anyway. So it's like, hey, why not? Let her do a district. Let her be a congressperson.
The final nail.
Congresswoman. Yeah.
Although Schwarzenegger was, right?
Somebody in the message board said, hey, regarding your Texas theory of turning blue, I'm predicting that California will eventually turn red one day. You know, that's not that far-fetched, and I'll tell you why. With everything that is happening in that state and the exodus and everything that's going on, there's been these like crazy Trump rallies going on in like Redondo Beach and like parts of San Diego and everything else and whatever. And it was like, there was a Republican governor there for years in Schwarzenegger and Reagan and all that shit. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if the people in California after let's say 20 years of this bullshit, right? I don't think it's going to be now. I'd give it another 15 years, right? When it finally all crashes and burns for California and people are tired of getting their power shut off and losing water and the state burning down because they won't do controlled burns and all that other shit, I think eventually people will be like, fuck it, whoever that candidate's going to be, where they'll turn red eventually, but it's not going to be for a long time.
Have they ever been?
Yeah. Look, Reagan came out of there. Ronald Reagan was.
He was a Democrat when he was in California.
Did he win
He was the governor.
He's the governor of California as a Democrat.
As a
he
Democrat.
only changed over to Republican when he ran for president.
Yeah, and then Schwarzenegger was a Republican, and he was governor for how many terms? How many terms did Schwarzenegger serve in California?
That's true.
It was a lot.
Do you have? I have a vivid memory of my dad's favorite president. Do you remember your dad or your stepdad or whatever saying like, "Well, we really need blah 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 back in office" or whatever?
I think that every dad loved Reagan.
Mine was Clinton.
Oh, Bill Clinton. Here's the thing.
His business was the best. He was like, you know what I mean? It was,
Yeah.
and it was all
Yeah.
connected to the things that we're talking about now, which is money and my business and taxes and everything.
100%. So I'll say this, like, because we look, as much as I talk about Trump or who I like or whatever, like I will always call it legacy. When Clinton was in there, shit was like the country was dealing, the economy was rolling. Like I don't give a baker's fuck that he stuffed a cigar inside somebody either, and I don't think they should have tried to impeach him for stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
Same with Trump. I think it's going to fuck both of their parties over in this election.
Yeah.
And I think that was dumb. But yeah, the economy was rolling and all that shit. And like, dude, I am very much a person who's riding the hot hand. If everything is going really, really well, why fuck it up? Like, why switch pitchers? It's like, let's see, throwing a no-hitter. Let's keep going here.
Right.
And yeah, I remember when Clinton was in there and like you had the .coms and all that shit and like stock market was rolling, everything was going great. And then it came grinding to a halt with Bush. Like,
Yeah, that was the most inflated economy of all time, though. The .com bubble was like the stereotypical bubble.
Oh, yeah, no,
like,
it was.
it was,
This was a
but
cocaine high. Like this
It
wasn't
didn't-
real by any stretch.
but here's the thing: if
It
you look
didn't
at
trickle down, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
But here's the thing: like if you look at it now from those .coms, they're the most powerful companies that are running the country to this day.
because they have all the money.
Right, but still,
Right, but for a second, it was like everyone was making money.
Everyone.
San Francisco and the.
And I'm one of those people, like, I don't care how you're making money. I don't care if you come up to me on the street and you're like, hey, man, I'm the most successful drug dealer in my neighborhood. Congratulations. Like, whatever you have to do to make money in this life, I don't really give a shit
But
as
that
long as
puts
it's.
us in the situations we are now with the opioid epidemic. When we
Well,
turn a blind
no.
eye to that kind of stuff. Like,
Here's the thing. I blame people for that. If you're fucking weak enough to get hooked on shit, like, hey, man, you shouldn't be doing drugs.
I mean, when every doctor is prescribing it, getting handouts, every time they
Hey!
prescribe it, there's a little bit of
I
pocketing.
contest.
You know how you feel.
This is not going to be popular.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with the opioids
Yeah. Or the opium.
is that they're not opium.
Yeah.
No, is that they take them away. If you just keep giving them to them,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
then they don't have to go to the streets and get fucking heroin.
Then you're
and
not
all
fucking
that, right?
begging, you know? Like, yeah, dude.
If
Yeah.
you just keep their dose
Right where you need to be.
and never cut it off.
Control
Just
the
keep that Social
population.
security check coming in
Just
directly to
keep
you.
keep that level of just cool. Obviously, I'm joking,
Are you?
but I would love a couple. I would love a couple.
I know.
You know,
I know.
just a couple.
I don't want to go back to the
day.
doctors. Yeah, and explain some fake injury I have. But yeah, I'm with you on that. So, but yeah, when Clinton was in there, fuck, I didn't have a problem with it at all. The only one that look, Bush and Obama were to me, I was just like, great. But life's been pretty rad under Trump. Shit was pretty rad under Clinton. So, fuck it. Is he a terrible person? Yeah, he is. He is. But you got to think of the country versus one dude, right? And what the fuck, bro?
Well, you got to take emotion out of it.
Yeah, you do. But nobody will. And that's it. That is the whole crux of the situation that we are in right now. Go to iTunes, rate the show a 5-star, and leave a quick review. It really does not matter how many millions of listeners we have. We will not enter the charts. We will not enter the charts until we have like 50,000 reviews or something stupid like that. So leave it. Do it now. Go there right now. I will wait. I will put one finger inside of me, and then I will keep going up to 4 until you leave a review. And I'm waiting right now. First finger's in.
Are they supposed to believe that you wouldn't like that?
Second finger's in. What's up?
Are they supposed to believe that that's going to be uncomfortable for you?
Past one finger's a little much, but one finger's fine. The rest of it, that's when shit gets really complicated, just in your own life, and then deciding your own sexuality at that point. But as a male, but yeah, leave a review. That's what really helps move us up the charts, and we greatly appreciate it. We'll be here with you every day. I'm amped for this to be over. I'm amped to no longer get these text messages, and I'm amped to no longer see one more commercial of local person MJ Hedgar run. Holy Christ, man. Whoever is bankrolling that campaign, it is every other commercial. We know it word for word.
I'm Jessie Wiseman.
Yeah.
I'm just a big city girl trying to make it in a small town. I like saltines with butter on it, and and I'm going to be here for you. Hey, John, your time is up. They all have the same kind of hi. There's one that just came. Hi.
Yeah.
I was homeless at 16 and had a baby and was kicked out of my house, but look at me now. And that's why I'm here to.
What is Giorgio's ex-girlfriend for 500?
She looked like it, and she's cute.
Yeah, she's cute, man.
She's a bit young for you, though.
I wonder what she looked like when she had her real teeth, What I'm just saying, like that was probably fell out in whatever drug thing she was into. And look, I'm not gonna.
I like butter noodles. I like smoking meats and baking cakes. And I'm here for you. And I have one word for you, John. A couple words for you, John. Get the fuck out of office, because I'm here to stay.
John
endorse it,
Cornyn hates fucking children.
Yeah.
John Cornyn once put an entire pack of crayons inside another man.
Yeah.
John Cornyn hates veterans.
Yeah. Yeah. I know all of them for real, word for word. The MJ Hagar one is everywhere. Hi, I'm MJ Hagar. I did 2 tours in Iraq and won a Purple Heart, and I'm raising 2 kids in a pandemic. John thinks that I'm going to be pushed around in Washington the way that he was. He's got another thing coming.
Yep. Yeah. She's on a motorcycle.
Yeah, and then she speeds off on her motorcycle. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. Are you Democrat? Because you really seem like you're a Trump supporter. But anyway.
Yeah. And she's in a residential neighborhood riding this motorcycle real fast, and you're like, whoa, is there kids around?
Yeah, I need a close-up on the neighbors' faces.
Yeah. Like, oh, God, I've got kids. MJ Hedgar. Or Hagar.
It's Hagar. And like your favorite Van Halen singer. Anyways.
I am dying. That's the hardest I've
You're
laughed in a
dying,
long
so
time.
we should go.
I was choking on my water. That is the hardest I've laughed in a long time. Hi, I'm Jessie. I like buttered saltines.
I like eating saltines with butter on them over the sink while my kids cry at my feet. But that just goes to show that I won't be distracted by anyone in Washington. Anyways, I'll work on the ad, you guys. Maybe Georgia will shoot it for me.
Tomorrow we'll
It's
do
always
it.
walking. You have to be walking.
Yeah,
through.
you have to be walking and pointing
Yeah.
and waving and the
Right.
whole thing. Oh God, I'm literally crying right now. I'm gonna wave to the camera goodbye for Jessie Wiseman, aka Congresswoman Wiseman. I'm Ross Patterson. This is The Revolution. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, be best.